The rain battered the windows of their suburban Seattle home, each drop a tiny drumbeat echoing the storm in Claire's heart. She sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the grain of the oak, unable to meet Emily's eyes. 3 years of marriage, a daughter asleep upstairs, and now this truth she could no longer bury. "I'm gay," Claire whispered, her voice cracking like the thunder outside. Emily's fork froze midair, a piece of lasagna dangling precariously. The silence that followed was heavier than the rain, thick with the weight of a life unraveling. Emily set the fork down, her blue eyes searching Claire's face for something. Denial maybe, or a hint that this was a cruel joke. But Claire's brown eyes, usually so warm, were raw with fear and resolve. "I've known for a while," Claire continued, her words tumbling out now, desperate to fill the void. "I tried to ignore it, Em. I love you, I love Lily, I love our life. But I can't keep pretending I'm someone I'm not." Emily leaned back, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "So what does this mean?" Her voice was steady, but Claire caught the tremor beneath it. "Are you saying you don't want this anymore? Us? Our family?" Claire's heart twisted. "No, that's not. I want to be honest. I want us to figure this out together. For Lily." Their 5-year-old daughter, with her gap-toothed smile and endless questions, was the anchor tying them to this moment, to this table, to this impossible conversation. Emily stood, pacing toward the sink, her blonde hair catching the dim light of the pendant lamp. "Figure it out? Claire, you're telling me you're in love with someone else. Or what? You want to date women now? While we're married?" Her voice rose, sharp with betrayal. "No one else," Claire said quickly, standing to, her hands outstretched. "It's not about someone else. It's about me. I've been hiding this since I was a kid, Em. I thought marrying you would fix it. I thought I could love you enough to make it go away." Emily turned, her eyes glistening. "And did it? Did loving me fix you?" The question hung between them, unanswerable. Claire wanted to say yes, to pull Emily into her arms and promise everything would be okay. But the truth was a wall, and she was tired of climbing it. They talked for hours, the rain a relentless backdrop. By midnight they'd agreed to separate, not out of anger, but out of a shared, aching need to protect Lily from a fractured home. They'd co-parent, keep things stable, give her the love they'd always promised. It felt like the right choice, the only choice. But as Claire lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, she couldn't shake the feeling that something else was coming, something she hadn't accounted for. The next morning, Claire called her mother, Susan, in Portland. Susan was a retired schoolteacher, devoutly religious, with a knack for dispensing advice whether it was wanted or not. Claire braced herself, expecting a lecture on commitment or scripture. Instead, Susan's voice was calm, almost calculating. "Come home," she said. "Bring Lily. We'll sort this out." Claire hesitated. Her mother's tone was too controlled, too certain. "Mom, I just need to tell you what's happening. Emily and I know what's happening," Susan interrupted. "You're confused. You need family, not distance. Come home, Claire." The invitation felt less like support and more like a summons. Claire hung up, uneasy, but the idea of her childhood home, its familiar creaks, the scent of her mother's lavender garden, pulled at her. Maybe Susan could help. Maybe she'd understand. She was wrong. When Claire and Lily arrived at Susan's modest bungalow, the air was thick with the scent of baking bread and something else, tension. Susan hugged Lily tightly, her silver hair gleaming in the sunlight, but her eyes were sharp when they met Claire's. "We'll talk later," she said, ushering Lily inside to play. That night, after Lily was asleep, Susan sat Claire down in the living room, a Bible open on her lap. "This isn't you," she said, her voice low but firm. "This confusion. It's not God's plan. You made vows, Claire. To Emily, to your daughter." Claire's stomach churned. "Mom, I'm not confused. I'm gay. I've always been gay. I just didn't have the courage to say it." Susan's lips tightened. "Courage? You're throwing away your family for a choice. A sin. I won't let you drag Lily into this." Claire's breath caught. "What does that mean?" "It means," Susan said, leaning forward, "I've spoken to a lawyer. If you and Emily can't fix this marriage, I'll fight for custody of Lily. She deserves a stable Christian home." The words hit like a slap. Claire stared at her mother, the woman who'd taught her to ride a bike, who'd bandaged her skinned knees, now threatening to take her daughter. "You can't do that," Claire whispered. "You wouldn't." "I will," Susan said, her voice unwavering. "For Lily's sake." Claire's world tilted. She'd come out to be free, to live authentically, but now her truth was a weapon her own mother was wielding against her. She thought of Emily, of their fragile agreement to co-parent, of Lily's laughter echoing through their home. This wasn't the end she'd imagined. It was only the beginning. Claire drove back to Seattle the next day, Lily singing softly in the back seat, oblivious to the storm brewing in her mother's heart. The highway stretched endlessly before her, a gray ribbon under a sky that refused to clear. Susan's threat echoed in her mind, each word a shard of glass. Custody, stable Christian home. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. How had it come to this? She'd spent years burying her truth to please her mother, to fit into the mold of the perfect daughter, the perfect wife. Now at 32, she'd finally spoken her truth, only to find it weaponized against her. Lily's voice broke through her thoughts, asking for a snack, and Claire forced a smile, passing her a bag of goldfish crackers. "We're almost home, Bug," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Back at the house, Emily was waiting. She'd stayed in their shared home, though she'd moved her things to the guest room. The air between them was fragile, like a spiderweb stretched too tight. Claire set Lily up with a cartoon, then pulled Emily into the kitchen. "We need to talk," she said, her voice low. Emily crossed her arms, her face guarded. "About what?" "We already decided, Claire. Separation, co-parenting. Unless you've changed your mind." "It's not that." Claire's throat tightened. "It's my mom. She threatened to sue for custody of Lily if we don't fix our marriage." Emily's eyes widened, her arms dropping. "What? She can't do that. Can she?" "I don't know," Claire admitted, sinking into a chair. "She's got money saved from Dad's life insurance and she's determined. She thinks I'm unfit because I'm gay." Emily's jaw tightened, but something softened in her eyes. "That's insane. Lily's ours. No one's taking her from us." She hesitated, then added, "From you." Claire looked up, surprised by the protectiveness in Emily's voice. For a moment it felt like they were a team again, united against a common threat. But the moment passed and Emily turned away, busying herself with a dish in the sink. "What do we do?" she asked, her back to Claire. "I don't know," Claire said again, hating how helpless she sounded. "I need to talk to a lawyer, figure out our rights. But I need you with me on this. For Lily." Emily turned, her expression unreadable. "I'm always with you for Lily. You know that." The next week was a blur of phone calls and sleepless nights. Claire found a family lawyer, a sharp woman named Rachel who specialized in non-traditional families. Rachel's office was a small, cluttered space downtown, filled with photos of smiling clients and their kids. She listened as Claire poured out the story, her coming out, the separation, Susan's threat. Rachel leaned back, tapping a pen against her desk. "Your mother's case is weak," she said. "Grandparents have limited rights in Washington, unless there's clear evidence of parental unfitness. Being gay isn't that. But she could make things messy, drag it out. You need to be prepared." "Prepared for what?" Claire asked, her stomach nodding. "For a fight," Rachel said bluntly. "She'll try to paint you as unstable, maybe dig into your past. You and Emily need to present a united front. Show you're both committed to Lily's well-being." Claire nodded, but the weight of it all pressed down on her. She thought of her mother's house, the Bible on the coffee table, the certainty in Susan's voice. This wasn't just about custody. It was about Susan's belief that Claire's identity was a sin, a danger to her granddaughter. That evening, Claire and Emily sat down with Lily to explain the separation in terms a 5-year-old could understand. They kept it simple. "Mommy and Mama love you, but they're going to live in different houses." Lily's brow furrowed, but she nodded, clutching her stuffed bunny. "Will I still have my room?" she asked. "Always. Emily promised, brushing a curl from Lily's face. Claire watched, her heart aching at the tenderness in Emily's touch. Even now, with everything breaking, Emily was still the woman Claire had fallen in love with, kind, steady, fierce when it came to their daughter. But the cracks in their foundation were growing. Emily was pulling away, her warmth reserved for Lily. Claire understood. Her truth had shattered their marriage, even if it wasn't her fault. Still, the distance hurt. She started noticing things she hadn't before. The way Emily avoided her gaze, the late nights she spent working, the quiet moments when she thought Claire wasn't watching, staring out the window with a sadness that mirrored Claire's own. One night, Claire found Emily in the backyard, sitting on the swing set they'd built for Lily. The moon cast a silver glow over her, and for a moment, Claire saw the woman she'd married, vibrant, full of life. She said softly, stepping closer. Can we talk? Emily looked up, her eyes guarded. About what? Us. This. I know I hurt you and I'm so sorry. I don't want us to hate each other. Emily's laugh was bitter. I don't hate you, Claire. I'm just lost. I thought we were forever, you know? And now I'm trying to figure out who I am without you. Claire's chest tightened. I'm still here. For you, for Lily. I'm not going anywhere. Emily shook her head, standing. You already did. The moment you said those words, you left me. The words stung, but Claire didn't argue. She watched Emily walk back inside, the door clicking shut behind her. Alone in the dark, Claire felt the weight of her choices, her mother's threat, and the fragile hope of keeping her family intact. She didn't know how to fight Susan, how to mend things with Emily, or how to be the mother Lily needed. But she knew she had to try. Claire threw herself into research, scouring legal forums and parenting blogs for any scrap of insight into grandparent custody cases. Her days became a juggling act. Work at the graphic design firm, bedtime stories with Lily, and late-night strategy sessions with Rachel. Emily, meanwhile, took on extra shifts at the hospital, her nurses' scrubs a constant reminder of her need for space. The house felt like a stage, each of them playing their roles, loving parents, civil exes, while the undercurrent of tension grew. One afternoon, Claire got a call from Susan. I'm coming to Seattle, her mother said, her voice clipped. We need to talk in person. For Lily's sake. Claire's pulse raced. Mom, we're handling things. Emily and I have a plan. You don't need to. I'm not asking, Susan interrupted. I'll be there Saturday. The call ended, leaving Claire staring at her phone. She wanted to scream, to throw something, but Lily was in the next room coloring. Instead, she texted Emily. Mom's coming this weekend. Wants to talk. I'm freaking out. Emily's reply was quick. We'll deal with it together. For Lily. Saturday arrived too soon. Susan pulled up in her old Subaru, her face set in a way that reminded Claire of childhood lectures about modesty and obedience. Lily ran to her grandmother, oblivious to the stakes, and Susan's smile softened for her granddaughter. But when her eyes met Claire's, they were steel. They sat in the living room, Lily playing upstairs. Emily joined them, her presence a quiet anchor. Susan wasted no time. I've spoken to my lawyer, she said, folding her hands. I'm prepared to file for custody if you two can't provide a stable home. Claire, you're choosing a lifestyle that's unnatural. And Emily, you're enabling it by letting this divorce happen. Emily's eyes flashed. Susan, with all due respect, this isn't about your beliefs. It's about what's best for Lily. Claire and I are her parents. We're not perfect, but we love her. Susan's lips thinned. Love isn't enough when you're tearing apart her family. She needs structure, faith. Not this chaos. Claire's hands trembled. Mom, I'm not chaotic. I'm gay. That's not a choice or a sin. It's who I am. And I'm a good mom to Lily. Susan shook her head. You're confused, Claire. I raised you better than this. I won't let my granddaughter grow up in a home that defies God's will. The room felt suffocating. Claire wanted to yell, to defend herself, but Emily's hand on her arm stopped her. Susan, Emily said, her voice calm but firm, if you try to take Lily, you'll be the one tearing this family apart. Not us. Susan stood, her face unyielding. I'm giving you both a chance to reconsider. Fix this marriage or I'll do what I have to. After she left, Claire collapsed onto the couch, tears streaming down her face. Emily sat beside her, silent for a long moment. She's wrong, Emily finally said. You're not confused. And you're an amazing mom. Claire looked at her, surprised by the warmth in her voice. You don't have to say that. I mean it, Emily said, her eyes steady. I'm angry, Claire. I'm hurt. But I know you're doing this for you, not against me. And I won't let her take Lily from you. The words were a lifeline, pulling Claire from the edge of despair. For the first time since her confession, she felt a flicker of hope, not for their marriage, but for their partnership as parents. They spent the evening planning, mapping out schedules, finances, anything to prove to a court they were stable. It was practical, unromantic, but it felt like a step towards something solid. But Susan wasn't done. A week later, Claire received a letter from a Portland law firm, outlining Susan's intent to file for custody. The grounds? Claire's unstable lifestyle, and Emily's complicity in dissolving the family unit. Attached were affidavits from Susan's church friends, attesting to her moral character and Claire's recent erratic behavior. Reading it, Claire felt the ground shift beneath her. Her mother wasn't just threatening, she was building a case. She showed the letter to Emily, who read it in silence, her face paling. This is serious, Emily said, setting it down. We need to fight back. Hard. Rachel agreed when they met the next day. We need evidence, she said. Proof of your stability, your bond with Lily. Photos, school records, testimonies from friends. And you need to stay calm. If Susan can paint you as emotional or unhinged, it strengthens her case. Claire nodded, but inside she was unraveling. She started noticing things. Lily's teacher asking if everything was okay at home. A neighbor's curious glance when she and Emily left the house separately. Was Susan already spreading her narrative? The paranoia crept in, making every interaction feel like a test. One night, Claire found herself at a local coffee shop, a rare moment alone. A woman sat at the counter, her dark hair pulled into a messy bun. Her smile warm as she chatted with the barista. Claire's heart stuttered, not because of attraction, but because of the possibility. For the first time, she let herself imagine a life where she could be herself, unapologetically. But the thought of Lily, of Susan's letter, snapped her back. Freedom wasn't free, not yet. She went home and found Emily reading to Lily. The sight of them curled up together steadied her. Whatever happened, they were in this together. For now, that was enough. Claire and Emily threw themselves into building their defense. They gathered school reports showing Lily's thriving grades, photos of family outings, and letters from friends who vouched for their parenting. Rachel coached them on presenting a united front, emphasizing consistency and love. But the strain was palpable. Every conversation was about logistics or Lily, never about them. Claire missed the ease of their old life, the way Emily's laugh used to fill the house. Now their interactions were careful, measured, like navigating a minefield. Susan's next move came swiftly. She requested a mediation session, claiming it was a chance to resolve things amicably. Claire was skeptical, but Rachel advised them to agree. It would show good faith to a judge. The mediation was set for a community center in Seattle, a neutral space with fluorescent lights and folding chairs. Susan arrived with her lawyer, a stern man in a gray suit, and a pastor from her church. The sight of the pastor made Claire's stomach twist. Her mother was doubling down on her narrative. The mediator, a calm woman named Linda, began by asking everyone to state their intentions. Susan went first, her voice steady. I want what's best for my granddaughter. Claire and Emily are choosing a path that's unstable, against biblical values. Lily needs a home grounded in faith and tradition. Claire's hands clenched under the table. Emily spoke next, her tone even but fierce. Lily has a stable home with us. We're her parents, and we're committed to her happiness. Susan's trying to impose her beliefs, not protect Lily. When it was Claire's turn, she took a deep breath, forcing her voice to stay steady. I love my daughter. I came out because I want to be honest, not just for me but for her. I want her to grow up knowing it's okay to be who she is. My mother thinks that's wrong, but it's not. It's love. The pastor interjected, citing scripture, but Linda cut him off, keeping the focus on Lily. The mediation went nowhere. Susan refused to budge, and Claire and Emily refused to let her dictate their lives. Linda ended the session, recommending they prepare for court. Back home, Claire felt drained. She and Emily sat on the porch watching Lily play in the yard. "I didn't think it would come to this," Claire said, her voice barely above a whisper. "My own mom trying to take her." Emily reached for her hand, a rare gesture. "She won't win. We're stronger than she thinks." The moment of connection was fleeting, but it gave Claire strength. She started attending a local LGBT support group, needing a space to process her identity without judgment. The group met in a community center, a mix of ages and stories. There she met Tara, a 35-year-old artist with a quick laugh and kind eyes. Tara's confidence in her own queerness was magnetic, and Claire found herself opening up about her fears, losing Lily, losing Emily's respect, losing herself. "You're not losing yourself," Tara said one evening over coffee. "You're finding her. It's messy, but it's worth it." Claire wanted to believe her, but the fear lingered. Susan's lawyer was digging, sending requests for Claire's employment records, even contacting old friends. One night, Claire got a call from a childhood friend, Jenna, who sounded uneasy. "Your mom reached out," Jenna said. "She asked if I'd ever seen you. I don't know. Act unstable." I told her no, but Claire, she's relentless. The news shook Claire. She felt exposed, like her life was being dissected. She confided in Emily, who was furious. "She's crossing a line," Emily said, pacing. "We need to push back." Rachel suggested a counter-strategy. File for a protective order to limit Susan's access to Lily during the legal process. It was a bold move, one that could escalate things, but Claire agreed. They couldn't let Susan's campaign of fear dictate their lives. The protective order hearing was tense. Susan sat across the courtroom, her face a mask of righteous indignation. Claire testified about the threats, the letter, the mediation. Emily corroborated, her voice steady as she described their commitment to Lily. Susan's lawyer argued that Claire's lifestyle change was destabilizing, but the judge, a no-nonsense woman, granted the temporary order. Susan could see Lily only with supervision, pending the custody hearing. Afterward, Claire felt a mix of relief and guilt. She'd never wanted to cut her mother out, but Susan's actions left her no choice. That night, she wrote in her journal, a habit she'd picked up from the support group. "I'm fighting for my daughter, but I'm also fighting for me. I don't know if I'm strong enough, but I have to be." Emily noticed the change in Claire. Less hesitation, more resolve. One evening, as they tucked Lily in, Emily lingered at the door. "You're doing good, Claire," she said softly. "I see it." Claire's heart swelled. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was something. A bridge, maybe, to a new kind of partnership. As she closed Lily's door, she felt a spark of hope, fragile but real. The fight was far from over, but for the first time she believed she could win. The custody hearing loomed like a dark cloud, set for 2 months out. Claire and Emily doubled down, meeting with Rachel weekly to refine their case. They enrolled Lily in art classes, documenting every smile, every moment of normalcy. But the pressure was relentless. Claire's sleep was fractured, haunted by dreams of losing Lily. Emily, too, was fraying, her shifts at the hospital leaving her drained, her patience thin. One evening, Claire found a note slipped under their door. It was from Susan's church, a flyer for a family values seminar, with a handwritten message, praying for Lily's true home. Claire's blood boiled. She showed it to Emily, who crumpled it with a curse. "She's trying to intimidate us," Emily said. "It's pathetic." But it wasn't just the flyer. Susan's lawyer requested a home evaluation, claiming Claire and Emily's separation created an unstable environment. A social worker visited, her clipboard a silent judgment. Claire and Emily performed flawlessly. Clean house, happy Lily, united front, but the scrutiny left them raw. After the social worker left, Claire broke down, sobbing into her hands. "I just want to live," she said. "Why is that so hard?" Emily knelt beside her, hesitating before pulling her into a hug. "Because you're fighting for something real," she said. And it's worth it. The embrace was brief, but it lingered in Claire's heart. She clung to it during the long days, finding solace in small victories. Lily's laughter, a supportive email from a colleague, Tara's encouragement at the support group. Tara was becoming a friend, someone who saw Claire's truth without judgment. They'd talk for hours, sharing stories of coming out, of rebuilding. Tara's ease with herself was a beacon, showing Claire what life could be. But Susan's campaign escalated. She started calling Lily's school, asking teachers about Claire's behavior. When Claire found out, she was livid. She confronted Susan over the phone, her voice shaking. "You're crossing lines, Mom. This isn't about Lily. It's about controlling me." Susan's response was cold. "I'm protecting her from your choices. You'll thank me one day." Claire hung up, her hands trembling. She felt trapped, caught between her mother's crusade and her own fight for freedom. Emily suggested they meet with the school, ensure the staff knew Susan's actions were unauthorized. The principal was sympathetic, promising to block Susan's inquiries. It was a small win, but it felt like breathing again. As the hearing approached, Claire started exploring her identity more openly. She went to a queer art exhibit with Tara, marveling at the bold colors, the unapologetic stories. For the first time, she felt a sense of belonging, a glimpse of a life where she could be whole. But guilt shadowed her. Every step toward herself felt like a step away from Emily. One night, Emily caught Claire looking at photos from the exhibit. "You seem lighter," Emily said, her tone curious, not accusing. Claire hesitated. "I'm trying to figure out who I am. It's scary, but it feels right." Emily nodded, her eyes distant. "I'm glad you're finding that. I miss us." The admission hit Claire hard. She wanted to bridge the gap, to promise they could go back, but she knew it wasn't true. Instead, she said, "I miss us too, but I'm here, for you, for Lily. Always." The hearing was a week away when Rachel called with news. Susan's lawyer had subpoenaed Claire's old therapist, hoping to find evidence of instability. Claire panicked. Those sessions years ago were about her struggle with her sexuality, her fear of disappointing her family. Rachel reassured her, "We'll counter it. Your therapy shows strength, not weakness. You sought help to be a better person, a better mom." Claire wasn't convinced, but she trusted Rachel. She and Emily prepared meticulously, rehearsing answers, gathering more evidence. Friends rallied, offering to testify. Tara even offered to write a letter, describing Claire's growth in the support group. It was overwhelming, this outpouring of support, but it gave Claire courage. The night before the hearing, Claire and Emily sat with Lily, playing a board game. Lily's giggles filled the room, a reminder of what they were fighting for. As they tucked her in, Emily whispered, "We've got this, Claire. Together." Claire nodded, tears in her eyes. She didn't know if they'd win, but she knew they were a family, no matter what a judge decided. As she lay in bed, she thought of Tara's words, "You're finding her." For the first time, Claire believed it. She was becoming herself, and no one, not even her mother, could take that away. The courtroom was cold, sterile, the kind of place where lives were dissected under fluorescent lights. Claire sat beside Emily, their hands inches apart on the table, a silent show of unity. Lily was with a babysitter, her absence a weight in Claire's chest. Rachel was calm, her briefcase open, papers neatly stacked. Across the room, Susan sat with her lawyer and the pastor, her face serene, as if she were on a divine mission. The judge, a gray-haired woman with sharp eyes, called the hearing to order. Susan's lawyer went first, painting Claire as a woman in crisis, her sudden lifestyle change, a threat to Lily's stability. He cited the therapy records, twisting Claire's struggles into evidence of mental instability. The pastor testified, calling Claire's identity a choice against God's design. Claire's stomach churned, but Rachel's steady presence kept her grounded. When it was their turn, Rachel was methodical. She presented evidence of Claire and Emily's parenting, Lily's school records, photos, letters from friends. Emily testified, her voice clear and fierce, describing their commitment to co-parenting, their love for Lily. "We're not perfect," she said, "but we're her parents. We've built a life around her happiness." Claire went next, her heart pounding. She spoke of her journey, her love for Lily, her need to live authentically. "I came out because I want my daughter to know it's okay to be herself," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm not unstable. I'm her mom, and I'll fight for her every day." The social worker's report was a turning point. She described a loving home, a happy child, parents who communicated well despite their separation. Susan's face tightened as the judge nodded, taking notes. But Susan's testimony was a gut punch. She spoke of her faith, her fear for Lily's soul, her belief that Claire's choice was a betrayal of family. "I only want to protect her," Susan said, tears in her eyes, "from a world that's lost its way." Claire wanted to scream, to shake her mother and make her see. But she stayed silent, letting Rachel handle the cross-examination. Rachel was relentless, exposing the lack of evidence for Susan's claims, the bias in her witnesses. By the end, Susan's case felt flimsy, built on belief rather than facts. The judge recessed for deliberation. Claire and Emily stepped outside, the Seattle air cool against their skin. "You did great," Emily said, her voice soft. "I'm proud of you." Claire's eyes stung. "I'm scared, Em. What if?" "She won't win," Emily said, squeezing her hand. "We're enough." The judge's ruling came that afternoon. She granted Claire and Emily full custody, citing their demonstrated stability and commitment. Susan's petition was denied, her access to Lily limited to supervised visits. The words washed over Claire like a wave, relief and grief intertwined. She'd won, but at the cost of her mother. Outside the courthouse, Susan approached, her face pale. "This isn't over," she said. "I'll keep praying for you, Claire. For Lily." Claire met her gaze, steady for the first time. "Pray for yourself, Mom. I'm done apologizing for who I am." Susan walked away, her shoulders stiff. Claire felt a pang of loss but also freedom. She turned to Emily, who was watching her with something like admiration. "Let's go home," Emily said. That night, they celebrated with Lily, ordering pizza and dancing to her favorite songs. The house felt alive again, filled with laughter. But as Lily slept, Claire and Emily sat on the couch, a bottle of wine between them. "What now?" Claire asked, her voice quiet. Emily sighed, swirling her glass. "We keep going. For her. For us." Claire nodded, her heart full. They weren't a couple anymore, but they were a family. And for the first time she felt like she could breathe. The next week, Claire went back to the support group. Tara was there, her smile bright. "You won," Tara said, hugging her. "You're free." "Not completely," Claire admitted. "But I'm getting there." Tara grinned. "That's the spirit. Want to grab coffee? Celebrate." Claire hesitated, then nodded. It wasn't a date, not yet, but it was a step. A step toward herself, toward a life she was finally ready to claim. Life settled into a new rhythm. Claire and Emily sold the house, splitting the proceeds to buy smaller places a few blocks apart, keeping Lily's world stable. They alternated weeks, trading stories of her latest obsessions, dinosaurs, glitter glue, a sudden love for soccer. Co-parenting wasn't easy, but it worked. Lily thrived, her laughter a constant reminder of what they'd fought for. Claire leaned into her identity, exploring it with a mix of fear and exhilaration. She and Tara grew closer, their coffee dates turning into long walks, then dinners. Tara's confidence was infectious, and Claire found herself laughing more, feeling lighter. One evening, as they sat by Lake Washington, Tara took her hand. "You're allowed to be happy, you know," she said. Claire smiled, her heart full. "I'm starting to believe that." Emily, too, was finding her way. She started therapy, processing the end of their marriage. She dated sparingly, focusing on herself and Lily. Sometimes she and Claire would share a moment, a knowing glance, a shared joke about Lily's antics, that felt like their old life. But it was different now, a friendship forged in fire. Claire cherished it, knowing how rare it was. Susan stayed distant, her supervised visits with Lily brief and strained. Claire sent her updates, photos, report cards, hoping to keep a thread of connection. One day, a letter arrived from Susan, her handwriting shaky. "I'm trying to understand," it read. I love you, Claire. I always will. It wasn't an apology, but it was a start. Claire tucked it away, unsure if she was ready to respond, but grateful for the crack in her mother's armor. At work, Claire took on bolder projects, her designs reflecting her newfound confidence. She spoke at a local LGBT event, sharing her story to a room of strangers who nodded, cried, clapped. It felt like a reclamation, a way to turn her pain into purpose. Lily was there, cheering loudly, oblivious to the weight of it all but proud of her mom. One spring afternoon, Claire and Emily took Lily to a park, watching her chase butterflies. They sat on a bench, the air warm with possibility. We did good, didn't we? Emily said, her voice soft. Yeah, Claire said, watching Lily's joy. We really did. The journey wasn't over. There were still moments of doubt, of grief for the life they'd lost. But there was also hope. A life where Claire could be herself, where Emily could rebuild, where Lily could grow up loved and whole. They'd face the storm and come out stronger, not as a couple, but as a family redefined. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Claire felt a peace she hadn't known was possible. She was gay, she was a mom, she was enough. And for the first time, she knew she could carry that truth into whatever came next.